I have the honor to introduce, for me, one of the most charismatic bartenders I've ever met in a beautiful bar in Paris. He's completely into rum, but his knowledge goes far more beyond than only rum. Please, a big round of applause from Mabel, Paris, Joseph Akhavan.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It's working. Hi, guys. Nice to meet you. Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsch, aber heute, ich glaube, es ist besser, wenn ich Englisch spreche, ja? This is 6 years of studying German in high school and university. I am sorry, this is all I can say now. I forgot everything. So I do this in English, if it's okay for you. I come to present my bar. It's called Mabel, as you can see on the board. We open, it will be in 1 month, it will be 3 years. 3 years is young for a bar, also with the rhythm of how things are going now. People come to us and they say, wow, you guys have been open for 3 years, that's a long time. Yes, I guess so. How can I describe Mabel very quickly? Mabel, we are a cocktail bar, of course. That's why we're here, BCB. We also are a rum bar. I will come back to this a little later. And we also grilled cheese shop. Now, I will skip the grilled cheese shop part for 3 reasons. One, my business partner, who is my wife, is not here. And she's much better at this than me. So, second reason, this is BCB, so I'm not going to talk about food now. And third reason, it's lunchtime. And trust me, if I start showing you pictures of sandwiches we serve at the bar, you will hate me for the rest of your life. So let's forget about this for now. So welcome to Psychology 101, BCB. I'm super excited to be here. I got a message maybe 5 or 6 months ago. And I thought, okay, I will do what I like to do the best, is speak about my bar. I can do this for 3-4 hours. We only have 45 minutes, so I won't take too much of your time. You guys are very brave, I must say, to be here so early. I saw some blurry faces this morning at the Campari stand downstairs. I thought to myself, it's going to be difficult keeping you alive at this time, but you managed to do it. All right, so I will go to the next frame, if you don't mind. I will present myself first, very quickly. I don't want to say too much. My name is Joseph Akhavan, like I said, and like Ben said. I own and co-founded Mabel. And wait a minute, who wrote this? Someone wrote a joke on the board, never mind. I am 37, and okay, guys, I just said I'm 37. If you want to be nice to me, you should say something like, hey, you don't look 37. Yeah? That's because I work a lot, and work keeps you healthy, guys. So I opened the bar with my wife. With my wife, who is not here, but she's part of the business as much as I am. We opened 3 years ago. Like I said, it's difficult to explain a concept in 40 minutes. But what I will try to do is take you behind the bar, like the topic says, and try and answer your questions if you have questions, and of course be as specific as I can without being boring, which is sometimes a little difficult. My background, I started working behind bars 13 years ago. 13 years ago, 2004. And like many of you guys who work in bars, when you start, you work in pubs like I did. So you pour pints, you do easy things, and you kind of work behind the bar to pay for your school, which I did. And nothing at the time will let me know that I will be here presenting my bar at BCB, because I was studying English. So I was studying English, and after my master, I thought I was more interested in bar than I thought I would be, and more interested in bar than I was in translation. So I thought to myself, okay, for now I've only been working in a pub. What can I do that will make me improve and give me more interest than just pouring pints? So this is why I challenged myself to find a position in a cocktail bar. At the time, it was not so many options. I was lucky enough that I was able to find a position, and that's when I knew I wanted to do the bartending. You know, when you are a child, like I said, I didn't have any idea of how I was going to be a bartender. But when you're a child, you have questions like, hey, what do you want to do in life? You want to be a fireman, you want to be a cop, you want to be anything, surgeon. I think if you ask me back then, I would say something like, I would be, you know, the boss of the universe, like a child would say. I will own the world. Now, that's kind of a long training if you want to own the universe. I'm not going this way. So I went to the second best thing for me, is owning your own business, owning your own bar. And when you own your own bar, it's pretty much like running the universe, you know. It's stuff you handle with bottles instead of strikes. And my French fellows will know what I mean right here. Okay, so we can go to the next frame if you don't mind. I want to show you something. This is why I don't speak about grilled cheese sandwiches. Because if I show you this now, you won't be able to resist so long. One thing I didn't say. It's a 45-minute speech, and I have a big surprise at the end. This is how I learned to maintain an audience. There's a big surprise at the end, so don't leave right now. I promise it will be worth it your time. So let's say I want to explain to you how I ended up here. So there's a story I didn't tell so many people. 4.5 years ago, I was working my last bar position, and things were going okay. I was very happy with the business, and my former boss was also quite happy. One day we sat down, like we usually would every month, and he said to me, okay, I think the bar is reaching its maximum potential, so we have two options. First option is to open another venue and try to expand and do something different. Second option is to try and build something more in this bar, let's say a new station, a new bar, a new room. And so quickly he said to me, if we build a new venue, if you make a new venue, let's do this. We give you a check for 250,000 euros. All you have to do is think of a concept. Think of a concept, run the concept, bring someone to help you run the concept, and then if all goes well, we move to another place, and we just do this from now on. And I thought it was a good idea, but I will be honest with you, I thought I can have two options. If I keep going like this, I will never really be as independent as I wish I can be. So after 2 days of this meeting, I said, I quit. I said to him, this is it, thank you very much. I quit, and the next day, I said to my wife, Sam, let's try and put some numbers together, because now we're going to open our own bar. She said yes, because she's a bit crazy like me. And I would say after a few weeks of writing down numbers, we were able to think of this more as a visual idea than just a fantasy. We can go to the next frame if you don't mind. So once you lock down your concept, which we did quite quickly actually, it was rum, cocktails, it was very obvious for us, is find the location. In Paris, location is key. I don't know how it is here. I've seen bars are pretty spread out, but in Paris, if you don't have the location, it's a big issue. I strongly believe that when you open your own business, anything, it can be a bar, it can be a restaurant, it can be a shoe shop, tattoo parlor, anything. There needs to be some kind of connection between you and the neighborhood. For me, this connection started 10 years ago when my wife and I moved to this neighborhood, and I will explain to you this picture. So the neighborhood is the center of Paris. If you go back in the days, this would be the main place for all the restaurants to get their supplies. So meat, fish, vegetables, fruits. So the life of food industry in France, in Paris more specifically, will be built around this neighborhood. So if you have a restaurant, you have to go here to buy your purchase. After some time, it became too small for the demand, so they relocated outside. But for many years, this was called the belly of Paris. So the belly of Paris is where we are now. And if you go to the next frame, it was actually the topic of a very famous novel from Émile Zola. And he wrote a whole story about how this neighborhood became the center of attention of the whole city. And if it wasn't for this specific area, nothing would happen. You can move next frame, and the next frame either. also. So that's my second connection with this neighborhood. The third connection is 10 years ago, I would say there was a rebirth of cocktail craft scene in Paris, which was also happening in this area. You can move the next frame. So Experimental Club opened 10 years ago in the same area as we are. If you look now, we are 2 streets away from Experimental, and they relaunched the whole concept of a cocktail bar. If you go to Paris, if you went to Paris 11 years ago to find a good cocktail, good luck. You will find maybe 20 euro cocktail or 25, so hotel prices. But to find a cocktail which will be 10, 12 euros with fresh juices, high-end spirits, no. These guys were the first one to introduce this to the atmosphere, to Paris. So that's my third connection. This is why we wanted to find a spot in this area when we will open a bar. It's big. It means the connection with the bar industry, the food industry, and also being able to say that you help your neighborhood grow and see develop the place where you live, you know, when you hope to finish your life someday. So this is why relocation was very, very important. I can move to the next frame. So one day, once we found the location, you start putting numbers together. And I had a very bad dream one day. And this is my dream, the dream I had. I was dreaming of me sitting down with a guy at a table and him saying to me, "Guy, you're doing a good job and I want to put some money in you." So he will give me some money and he will say to me, "But if you don't pay me this money after 1 year, I will take double of that money." And I woke up, I was in sweats. I was thinking, if I let this guy into our business, this is it, I'm done. He's actually, you know what, he looks a little, don't you think he looks like someone? Like if you do the comb over and the American accent and the dollar bills, you know? Never mind. So my concern is how are we able to open a bar in Paris with no investors? So it's just myself and my wife putting money together, being able to open a bar without letting anyone into the business who might one day say, "I'm taking my money back," or "I want to change this and I want to change that. I want this brand to be behind the bar." For us, it was out of the question. So it's a bit tricky. One thing that we did that was clever, but we didn't know at the time, when we were building the bar, after a few months, it was just a construction site. So when you go into the bar every day just to build stuff and you don't see people in the bar besides workers, you kind of lose the idea that it's going to be a bar eventually. Lucky for us, we organized a small pop-up for 10 days with Nika whiskey. The bar was not finished. It was completely damaged, but still we saw people coming, buying drinks, having a good time, leaving, saying see you next time. So we saw a potential of a place that would be a cocktail bar eventually. Thanks to that, we were able to attract some customers, and also we will sell drinks to them. So for 10 days, we were able to put some money together so we could finish all the design and especially the decoration. So you can move to the next frame. I will show you something. On the left is the picture I took the first day I saw the place. That was 4 years ago, November 2014. And the right picture is the 2 days after the opening. So you can see in my head, it's very complicated to imagine that when I see this for the first time, I will be able to put a bar and bottle and seats. But thanks to this event, we were able to finish everything in time. So we opened 3 years ago. I will show you some more of the back bar, so you can move to the next frame. Why I do this? Okay, this is our back bar. So one thing I want to say, we don't do any, like you call branding. Branding is when you partner with a brand and they follow you, you follow them, but the downside is you work with them for as much as they want, or as you want. But if you have a cocktail menu, which is our case, we have 19 cocktails on the menu. I would say 12 are rum-based. I cannot have a menu just with the same rum, like 12 drinks with the same rum. That makes no sense. So for us, we decided to do no branding and being able to get the spirits we thought were the most interesting for the concept, for the drinks, also for the rum tasting, because we focus a lot on rum. And for this purpose, it's difficult to associate with one rum brand and then say we are a rum bar. Because if I do one partnership with one brand, it's going to be difficult to explain to them, but I want to work with other rum brands. Otherwise, I just buy from these guys. And you kind of lose the concept of being a rum bar. We have 160 rums at the bar. If I just work with rum brand, I could never do this. One thing also I want to say, we are a sitting-only bar. So, sitting only for you in Berlin, maybe it's not so crazy. I went to a bar last night which was sitting only. London is very popular for that. I went to some bars in New York where that was sitting only. But in Paris, you don't see that. Maybe in some high-end hotels, but even so, I'm not so sure. We can sit 45 people at the bar, which is not a lot, but for us, it's good enough. The reason why we're sitting only bar, the main reason, I would say, is for service. You know, at the time, we have a lot of people who associate bars with high-end restaurants, and I respect that completely because it's true, we do a lot of things with our hands and we buy a lot of niche products to make them into a good cocktail. But if you go to a high-end restaurant and you have a meal, you will never pay for your meal before you exit the table. The end of the meal is the moment you pay the bill. So I couldn't understand how I would open a bar, a cocktail bar, a craft cocktail bar, and tell to my guest, what do you want? I want a daiquiri. Give me 12 euros now. And I will make you daiquiri after you give me 12 euros. What if the guest doesn't like the daiquiri? How do you work? You lose focus on him. Because he has his drink, he's going away. Maybe he will stand in the corner like this, drinking his daiquiri because there's no other room. And then he will think, this place is kind of a rip-off. They took my money, I didn't have anything to drink, and now I'm standing here where I see a group of people sitting on the sofa, enjoying their drinks, paying the same price as I'm paying. So for me, it was kind of unfair. I thought, if I can give the same service to everyone, and they pay the same price, this becomes fair. What is not fair is taking their money and saying, bye-bye, you are number now. I might not see you again. That's the first reason. Second reason is, it's a small bar, I will say this, but for us, we are always able to see everyone. So, this is a room full of people, I can see you. In the bar, it's the same. I can see if you are waving at the waiter, and I can see if you want more water in your glass, because we can see everyone in the bar, and we don't lose focus on anyone. So we go back to you maybe 2-3 times, make sure you're okay. For me, it's important that you understand that I'm not going to make you a drink because I want you to drink this. I want to make sure that you will have a good time. You pay a lot of money to come into our bar, so you deserve the best service that we can provide you. We can move to the next page. Boring numbers alert, sorry. So boring numbers alert, I'm sorry I have to do this. Before I was explaining how we are a cocktail bar and a rum bar. So next frame is just to show you the sales at the bar, because before I did the presentation, I looked at the number for the last 3 years. So 70% of what we sell are cocktails. Out of these 70%, it's 97% of these cocktails are the menu, are the cocktails from the menu. So what I understand is that people, they trust our menu for their orders. So this is why we are always trying to rotate the menu to make some kind of excitement. And I gotta say, I will challenge any bar in Paris to sell 97% of their drinks from their menu. Usually people come and they have a drink because they read the menu, they don't pay interest. No one is here really to explain to them. So you have a menu, there's no one to explain to you if you like lime, if you like ginger, if you don't like ginger. So for us, this is also a way to improve and how do you say, to convince us that what we do is on the right track. The way we introduce our drinks to our guests and the way we are able to talk about our drinks makes them more order our drinks. So this is very exciting. We are making prep and they are drinking the cocktails. Then you have 13% of food, 13% of rum. So we sell rum by the glass. It's a good thing for us because some people don't know nothing about rum. And we are here to explain to them what kind of rum are you into, or would you be into? If you like whiskey, this could be a rum that would be interested in. If you don't like whiskey, you can try this rum. And then everything else is 3%. So 3% represents like gin tonics, bottled beers. We have no wine, no vodka, no draft beers. Maybe I don't know, other spirits like bourbon, rye whiskey, but it's only a small amount. So when I say we are a cocktail bar, I can actually prove to you on the map that we are a cocktail bar. The last place I used to work, we used to do 50% cocktails, and 50% was a mix of food and wine. And it was difficult for me to say we are a cocktail bar because it was more like a restaurant. Of course, I could do more cocktails, but then I still want to sell rum. I still want people to come for rum. So for us, it's a pretty good number here. We can move to the next frame. And I promise there will be some drinks later. So when you open a bar, you find your location, and you think of a name. And so the name of the bar is called Mabel. So there's a picture here. The woman on the board was called Mabel Walker. I will tell you why we chose this name. I would say maybe 5 years ago, I saw a documentary on Prohibition. Prohibition is a very, very popular topic. And so there was all these people, you know, the smugglers and the cops and the city hall. And there was this woman, she was actually in charge of the office. And she was the assistant to the Attorney General in the state of New York. So her job basically was to send people to close down bars. That's pretty crazy. Close down bars, close down distilleries. And also, because she was in New York, so on the East Coast, one of her missions was to stop all the rums from transferring, coming from the Caribbean to the East Coast and then being distributed inside the country. I saw this character. I wrote down her name, Mabel. I thought it's a cool name. She had a pretty crazy story because when you look at the movies, you will see her drinking after work, so you think, what kind of woman is that? On one hand, she's closing down bars, and on the other hand, she's going after work to drink. So the name was on the list, and then when we were this close to locking down the name, for some reason, I lost the list. So we had some crazy names like things that have nothing to do with bar, like Black Hawk and the Wheel Station and I don't know. We kind of lost the idea of finding a name. We just write down anything that pops into our head that would sound cool. You know, we almost went to a PR agency and say, "Can you find a name for us because we are getting crazy here." And then we were cleaning some papers, and I found this paper with a name, and I said to Sam, "How come we never chose this?" She said, "Well, you choose the name. You wrote it down. I didn't write it down." I said, "Actually, you're right. I wrote it down. And how come we never thought about it?" So that's how we call Mabel. People come to us and say Mabel, or they will say Mabel. So if you speak a little French, Mabel is a totally different meaning. And when you say to someone Mabel, you say something like my dear one, like my loved one, my precious, right? So let's say I call you on the phone, say, "What are you doing tonight?" "I'm going to Mabel. I'm going to my precious." I'm kind of interested. I want to know where you're going. I want to know who is that precious of yours. What is a bar? "Oh, okay, let's go together. Let's have a drink." We can go to the next page. Nerd alert. So, next frame, nerd alert. Why? Because I'm a little nerdy, a little bit, not too much. And I notice in the bars, you have a station with your ice and your bottles. So I'm guessing the idea, and I know the idea, is to make sure that your ice is same temperature as your juice, and when you put in your shaker, it won't dilute too much. But every bar I would go to, I would never see this for a mixing station, for mixing glasses. And I thought, how come you have a glass in the room which is maybe 24 degrees, and you have your mixing glass in the same room which is about 24, 20 degrees as well, and you put the ice in your mixing glass, and can you show the next picture? And then all of a sudden dilutes. And one day I was sitting at a bar and I thought, I can do something about this, you know, I can do something that will integrate a built-in station for the mixing glasses so that my mixing glass is the same temperature as the ice. My glass comes from the fridge, so I don't need to worry about that. And then when I make you a stir drink, which is super important, I mean, mixed drinks, like stir drinks, we sell half of our drinks are stir drinks. And I thought, okay, I put down some ideas and I thought about this. So basically, you have the station here. This is our built-in mixing station. So our mixing glasses are always chilled. Our glass is always chilled, of course. So when we put the ice, it doesn't matter if it's hot in the room or not. When we put our mixing glass in the ice in the mixing glass, it stops melting. Then I can control dilution. This is my nerdy moment, guys. I'm sorry. The drink I'm sending now is called the Mabel's Treacle. So it's our version of a treacle. I will explain the menu and break it down for you very quickly. The menu has 5 sections. First is what we call our classic cocktails. So this is one of them. These drinks have been on the menu since day one, almost. I would say since the opening. So what we do for this section, we take classics and we kind of twist with our own touch. So Treacle, people who know the Treacle, it's a very classic rum cocktail. It's rum, apple, sugar, and bitters. Kind of like an old-fashioned, but with an appley flavor to it. So we kind of switched it around, keeping the same base. So we keep rum, apple, the sugar, which we change a little bit, and the bitters. So you can go to the next page. I think we will show you the drink. So this is the menu. So there, the menu. First section, Mabel's Classic. Second section is our seasonal menu. So this is the one, of course, that changes the most. Every 3 months, we change the menu, the seasonal menu, sorry, with new ingredients, like fresh seasonal ingredients. Let's say summer, we have a lot of berries and crushed ice. When it's winter, it's more heavy drinks, like maybe eggnogs, warm drinks, stir drinks. Third section is our clean meal punch sections. So this as well kind of changes during the year, throughout the year. Barrel aged mix collection, sorry. So we have 3 drinks that we put in a barrel. Our guests kind of are excited by that because it's something that in Paris they don't see so much. I think you see it a lot in the States, but not so much in Paris. And then, very important, is our Rum Flies. So our Rum Flies, we have 13 Rum Flies. If you ask me, I think this is the most exciting portion of our menu, but that's just my advice. Basically, you choose a region. First, the region is cut into 3 glasses. Each rum will basically showcase how the region makes rums. So if you are into more lighter rums, you would go to Central America or South America. If you want something that's more whiskey-oriented, you might go to Caribbean rums or French-style rums. So it's also a way for us to kind of educate ourselves and educate our guests who are willing to know more about rums. And they would say, I know you guys are rum bar. I don't really know so much about rum. What can I try? Try a rum flight. You will be happy with that. So next frame, I will come back to the drink that you just had. Well, this is just some pictures of our drinks. This is our last menu, I think, from June. Some drinks are still here. Some of these are from the classic menu, but this is mainly our own menu. So the first drink you had, I can move to the next frame. So this is the one. So like I said, the sugar, we kind of play with it a little bit. We did a pink cider reduction, so we use pink cider from a local market. Cook with a little bit of sugar, so it reduces with a mix of spices. So spices are cinnamon, clove, ginger, nutmeg, and star anise. And then we add mint. So the mint is an important part of this process. When we do all the garnishes, like you can see, we use mint sprigs, and we discard the leaves. We keep those leaves, put in a dehydrator, and blend them. So we add minty powder. This is the mint we use for this reduction. So when it stops cooking, we put the mint, it infuses for half an hour, and then we put it in the bottle. So this drink for us is a kind of an introduction. Mabel's Treacle. It's our signature drink. It's, I would say it's a little spicy, but not too much. It's easy to drink. If you are into rum or not into rum, you can try that. It's a good way of introducing yourself to our cocktails. So like I said, I promised drinks. I'm sending drinks now, so be careful. The second drink you had, I can move to the next frame. The second drink you had is the Blockbuster Daiquiri. So it's the one, I think, is it the one you have now? Is it the same? It's the same, yeah? This is the one? Okay. So again, this is from our classic menu. So it's a daiquiri, which we play around a little bit. So using rum from Santa Lucia, and what we call cola PX syrup, which is actually not cola-based. It's just a mix of spices that we put together to find the same taste of cola, but in a natural way. And realizing that adding Pedro Jimenez and caramel to this mix would actually make you think you are drinking cola, like flat cola. charred lime. So charred lime, what is it? It's citrus, a lime citrus that we burn on the stove, skin on the stove. So it breaks down a little bit of the traditional bitterness from the lime, and also kind of gives you a caramelized, candied lime vibe. And on top, we spray some popcorn essence. So this drink was inspired by 2 drinks, actually 3 drinks. It's a daiquiri, it's a Cuba Libre, and essentially it was just inspired by a drink I had at PDT a while ago, which was called Cinema Highball, which is a Cuba Libre infused with popcorn. And I thought, yes, this is exactly what I want when I go to the movies. I want popcorn, and I want rum, yes, and I want cola. So this is our play on the daiquiri, and also a play on the Cinema Highball. Everyone has a drink, yeah? Okay, that's perfect. So as I was saying, when you put down the menu together, I think it's important to keep a base of drinks that you always have. The reason why, sometimes I go to bars I really like, and I will have a drink that I really enjoyed, but I would go to this bar maybe once a month, once a year. And when I come back, I kind of had this good memory of a drink I had in the bar. And I'm kind of frustrated that I cannot have the same drink again. I understand the will of changing the menu. We do it only partially, but I understand the will of changing the menu. However, I kind of feel like a bar should have his signature cocktails that you can find all the time. So let's say you came to our bar 3 years ago and you liked a drink, and you can always recommend to your friend who's coming with you this time, saying, hey, I had this really great drink at the bar. It was called Blockbuster Daiquiri. I think I want this again. And I think it kind of creates a connection with your guest, that there's always a few drinks that you always keep that will make them come back to you, you know. And they feel comfortable. They know the bar, they know the drinks. They can move to another drink, of course, but they will have this sense of comfort that they know the place and not everything changes all the time. And this is something that's very difficult for a bar, is being able to change some drinks, but also being able to keep some drinks. These drinks are 3 years old, and for somehow they are still quite current on our menu. When you look at them, it doesn't feel like they are old, like they've been made a long time ago. They kind of blend into the menu, even with the newer drinks, with newer techniques. These drinks, I've always had comments of people saying, this is a new drink. No, this is 3 years old, but it feels like it's new because the technique we used at the time was already quite cool. Yes, drink responsibly. I agree. Absolutely, I agree. Drink responsibly. One thing I want to say, okay. When we open the bar, you never really know what kind of customers you will get. You expect some customers, but you never really know who will come to your bar. If you come to Mabel any night of the week, you will see everyone. You will see young couples, you will see friends, you will see colleagues, you will see people come with their parents, you will see 60-year-old people, you will see 25-year-old, you will see executives, guys from the street, guys who love rum, girls who love rum. It's a kind of a mix of Paris, actually. It's very interesting to see how a bar can represent a whole neighborhood and a whole place just in a 5-hour frame. It's really crazy. I think we can move to the next page because, like I promised to you guys early in the presentation, bonus, yes. All right, exciting. So the bonus is another drink. So I'm getting you wasted at lunchtime. But this drink was never on our menu. We can start sending the last drink. It was never on the menu. And so, story I have to say. When we opened the bar, on the back page of our menu, we had a list of bars in Paris that we suggest for our customers. So when they read the menu, they fold it down and they see the last page. They see a list of bars in Paris and they say, what is this? We say, well, this is a list of bars you can go to in Paris. If you want good drinks, good vibe, good food, go there. And they'll say, okay, we'll do that. And they will come back to us after a few weeks and say, hey, you know what, I tried this bar, it's really cool. So, and they say, why do you guys do this? I mean, I could have come here and I went to this other bar. I said, that's exactly the point. I want you guys to try everything and come back and tell us your story about this bar. So this was very fun because a lot of bartenders told me, wow, I don't know what to do because you're sending us customers and we don't even know. So that's fine. The idea is that you guys see the guests we have and we see the guests you have. And for 3 years now, I can say safely that every week, someone comes to us and say, we come from this bar, we come from Sanika, we come from Little Red Door, we come from Sherry Butt, we come from Danico, and they send people to our bar. We didn't ask anything. They sent people to our bar, and last summer I thought of something. I thought, these people are sending people to our bar, and how can we find a way to thank them, but in a very funny way, right? So I thought of the bartender's drink. Bartender's drink is the Negroni. I mean, today's bartender's drink is Negroni. So what we did, we batched 30 bags of what you're having now, which is the Belgian Negroni. You can move to the next frame. So it's, I think 30 bags for 30 bars. So every time a guest will come to the bar and say, okay, now we are going to Marie Celeste for a bite. Okay, take this with you. Take this, give it to them. That's just our way to say thank you for bringing people in. Because it's the holiday soon, and we're going to close for 3 weeks, and we have to find a way to thank them. It's more of a gesture. You know, it's always fun to go to a bar with a drink from the previous bar, what you guys call boomerang. But this is more a thank you note, more than a boomerang. So this was not on our menu. This is the drink that we are serving now. So it's kind of a play on Negroni with juniper berries infused rum, pandan vermouth, and Clairin Laval, Campari, coffee bitters. The reason why we did this basically is not just to say thank you. It's also for our guests to understand that what they do every time they go to a bar, and they spread the word from one bar to another. And we don't know how to thank any of those guys. You know, this is October, last month, I had a guest come in and said, last time you gave me a bag and I'm sorry I didn't give it to them because we changed our plans and went to a friend's house. And he bring me the bag back. I said, keep it. One day you will go to this bar and you will give it to them. I think some bars may have not received this pouch because some people change their plans or they might drink it, that's fine. So if you haven't received, please let me know. I have plenty at the bar. I have a lot so I can give it to you. This is for Paris, but it can be for anywhere else really. But this is a way for us to say thank you to our colleagues, to also showcase something that's interesting. This BCB this year is focused about French bars. And I think this is a nice way for us to pay tribute to our colleagues and to the French scene, because basically we don't really have time to go see everyone. Personally, I don't have time to go see all the bars, so the least I can do is to make sure that they know we think about them a lot, really a lot. So that was the present I promised you. That was worth it, huh? I think this is it. Can you move to the next frame? Is there something else? No, that's it. So I will take questions. If you don't think of any questions right now, that's fine. You can send us an email. I will read maybe 2-3 years from now when I found my email password. But if you want, we can chat a little bit. You can come for a drink, of course. You are always welcome. Actually, the bar is closed tonight and tomorrow because I'm here. But otherwise, you can come anytime. I want to say thank you because it's very hard to listen to me talk in English. And it's very hard. I mean, it's too early for this thing, yeah? But you guys are really brave. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I also want to say thank you to these guys who made your drinks. They made it really nice. And I want to say thank you to Ben for introducing me. And also, this is a corny moment. I want to thank 4 people. First, I want to thank my wife, who is not here, but she's my business partner, and she's involved as much as I am. Second of all, I want to thank the guys at BCB, Bastian, Helmut, and Ina, who've been in touch with me, answering all my questions. Why can I come in? When can I do this? How much can I do this? Always answering me. This guy has so many questions on the email. When is it going to stop? So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. So that's it. That's it for me. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming.
Hi, thank you for your visiting. But how much homemade ingredients you must prepare for one menu? 20, 30?
So the menu is 19 cocktails. I don't know, about 50 maybe. Yeah. Each drink has I think there's only one drink that has no homemade ingredients. It's barrel-aged drink, so there's a kind of a homemade preparation. But otherwise, every drink has maybe 2 or 3 homemade ingredients. It's also the reason why we do this, because I think it's pretty cool that we can make something that our guests come back and say, you know what, I want to have this drink because I like this flavor. This might come from an infusion for a syrup, and this is not something you can find anywhere else. I cannot make your drinks because I don't have your ingredients, and you cannot make my drinks. It's also a way to identify your bar and make sure that you have your own style of drinks. So yeah, maybe 50, something like that.
Okay, thank you.